I've been patiently waiting to share this recipe with you all. It is the holiday season and you deserve this recipe in your life. Chris here, CaribbeanPod.com. Always a pleasure having you all here in the kitchen with me. Seafood pilau. You heard me correct. Pescatarians need love too. We've done pigtail pilau, beef pilau, curry stew chicken pilau, vegan pilau, gluten-free pilau. Today, I'm dropping it. The ultimate seafood pilau. We got shrimp, we got mussels, we got lobster, we got cod, and we got something else in there. Stay tuned, you're gonna love this one, man. Yes. Mussels, clams, tiger shrimp, lobster tails. And with the clams and the mussels, I have it soaking in water. I've cleaned them, I've brushed them down, I've pulled out all the beard and stuff like that. And you want to soak it in water for at least an hour or two. They will open up and any sort of impurities, any sort of sand will drop to the bottom. Let's talk about the shrimp and the lobster tails now. Luckily for me, the shrimp came already deveined. You notice there's a cut there. So it's already been deveined. But what I want the shell. The sort of outer shell, and I'm going to set this aside. And the shrimp is already peeled. We're just going to wash it with some cool water and some lemon juice, set that aside. But what we will do with the shell, the sort of skin of the shrimp as well as the lobster tail, is make a quick sort of stock, a flavored liquid to really heighten. And you know, it is a seafood pilau we're making, so we really want to impress on you the lovely flavor of seafood in there. So that's what I'm doing here. The same thing I'm going to do with and I'm leaving the tails on. Well, you know what? We need everything. I'm going to take the tails off. It look pretty in the dish though, but let me go that route. We'll take everything off. So there you go. Nice big plump shrimp. With the lobster tails, what I'm going to do is cut down the back here, and I'm going to peel back and get all the flesh, and I'm going to cut the flesh into bite-sized pieces, and the shell I'm going to keep here. And then we're going to jump on the stove and I'll show you how to make that quick sort of stock with it. And here is that lobster meat. I'll quickly show you what I did to get to that. I took my scissors, my kitchen shears, and just went across the back like so. And we're going to peel back and peel back. Remember, all of the shell we're collecting in this bowl here because that's going to become our stock. The recipe does have a few steps and it may seem intimidating from first glance, but I'm going to break it down. The only reason why it seems intimidating is because I'm going to break it down step by step. I really want you guys to get maximum flavor and taste and everything else. In my saucepan, I've got a tablespoon of butter. To that, 2 scallions, medium heat by the way. Mix that around a bit. We're going to go in with some fresh ground black pepper. I've got some fresh thyme. Going to hit out a quick little stir. And in goes all of that shell from the shrimp and the lobster. It's still on a medium flame. I just want to pull out some flavor before we add the water to this. After about 5 minutes, you'll notice the color has changed. It's taken on that bright orange color. We're going to crank up the heat to high, and we're going to go in with 3 cups of cold water. We're going to give that a stir. We want to bring that up to a boil. Once it comes up to a boil, what we want to do is reduce this by 1 cup. So what I mean is, we started with 3, we're going to end up with 2 cups, technically speaking, of that seafood stock. So what I'm going to do is bring it up to the boil, turn it down to a simmer, and I'm going to put it onto another burner while we continue cooking over here, because we don't need that liquid for another 10-15 minutes or so. In my humble opinion, there are 3 or 4 key elements to a good pilau. You must have these elements, and 1 is the sort of brown stewing sort of process. 2, the coconut milk. 3, the pigeon peas, which you'll see after. But if you've seen my other recipes for pilau, you will notice, it's chicken or beef or pork or whatever we use, it takes a long time to cook, whereas with seafood it doesn't. So we have to kind of play with things a bit. I have my pot here. On a high heat, I went in with a tablespoon of olive oil, and this is the browning part of it to get that rich color and that depth of flavor. The oil is nice and hot now, so I'm going to go in with 2 tablespoons of yellow brown sugar or golden brown sugar. What's going to happen here, this is the browning process. That sugar will melt. It's a sort of a caramelization more than anything else. The sugar will melt, it will go frothy, then it will go a dark amber. Once that dark amber happens, it is when we will add whatever we're stewing. In this case, to start off with, to get that stew element, I have my pigeon peas, some pumpkin and carrots, and that is going to be the sort of base for everything to develop that color and that unique flavor. Now if it goes black, if that sugar goes black after it's melted, stop. Turn off the stove, allow it to cool down completely, that pot, wash it and start back. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if I have to tell you this or not, the pot was dry before you add that oil. If there's liquid in there, pow, 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 fireworks, you're getting burned, alright? Yeah, it will go smoky. The kitchen will go smoky, yeah, ladies and gentlemen? Now we're almost there. Notice how it's all melted. We've got that lovely deep amber color. We're almost there. We're going to give it maybe 30 seconds more. And the reason why I'm moving around everything in the pot here is because I know there's a heat spot on my burner here. So I know it always gets more hot over here. And I know some of you thinking, wait, Chris using a metal spoon, boy. Wait. Listen, I am the master of ceremonies. And if I choose to use a metal spoon, so be it. In goes. Gonna give that a quick little mix. Now if you're new to Caribbean cooking and you're wondering, okay, Chris, you started off with sugar, that's gonna be a sweet dish. I guarantee you, 1, it will not be sweet, and 2, you'll be begging to make this. Yo, your kids will be like, Mommy, Daddy, Auntie, organize me for Chris seafood pilau. Oh, by the way, if you guys want to see a chicken version of this, a beef version of this, a lobster version. Do we have a lobster version? I believe so. Head over to CaribbeanPod.com. Turn your heat down to medium and let that go for a few minutes. Nice and dry, have that lovely color. And here is where we're going to introduce more flavor. We've got garlic, and I've got 3 of these bird pepper or Thai chilies or whatever you guys call that, the green version of it. I've got 3 of them that I cut up there. I've got a medium onion. Get everything in there. Everybody making an appearance today. Don't worry. When you see this thing hit the back of your mouth, you'll be like, wait, sir. So that is what paradise tastes like. That is just pure niceness, man. Give that a quick stir. And you know, Uncle Chris got to go in with the ginger. A nice little grated ginger in there. Skin and everything. Go for it. Give that a stir. Now we're going to introduce the other component to a good pilau, as we spoke about earlier there, and that is the coconut milk. I've got 1.5 cups of that coconut milk. I'm just going to hit a 1/4 cup of water in there. Waste not one, not according to mommy. We're going to bring that up to a boil, and that there is pure niceness happening there. Let's work on the lobster. So we're just going to cut it up into bite-sized pieces, as I said. The shrimp is going to remain the same size it is there. And what I have, we've got one more. Here we go. What I also have, so we've got that tiger shrimp and the lobster in there. I also have, which I just washed with the juice of half of a lemon, is a nice piece of cod. And as we did with the lobster, we're just going to cube it up into sort of bite-sized pieces as well. And all of it is going into the same bowl. So like 1-inch pieces or so. Just toss that in there. Now the skinnier pieces you want to make a little bit bigger, just so it cooks evenly. Nice big chunks of that fish. Yeah, and my lobster and shrimp was already washed with cool water and lemon juice as well. Everybody getting a little bath in the lemon juice here. Now after we've done all of that, we're going to hit them a quick little season. So we've got all that seafood in there. We need salt. And some black pepper. And it's very simple. We're not going overboard with the seasoning here. And we've got Caribbean green seasoning. And if you're new to Caribbean cooking, Caribbean green seasoning is just a puree or a blend of all the herbs we like using in the Caribbean, along with garlic, pimento peppers, and just about any sort of flavor ingredients that we like. I usually blend mine with olive oil and I keep it in the fridge. So that's it. That's just going to get tossed in there and it's going to marinate in about 15 minutes. Giving this a quick little mixy mix, and I'm going to set it aside to marinate, as I said, for about 15 minutes. It's been about 10 minutes, so this is where now I'm going to introduce the rice element to it, and it's a one-pot dish if you're new to Caribbean cooking or Pelau in general. Some of you may call it a pilaf. And there's a rice dish, just about every part of the world have a rice dish. So we added that long grain parboiled brown rice, which has been washed, to the pot. I'm going to crank my heat back up to medium high. I'm going to give that a quick stir. We want to bring that up to a boil, but we need more liquid in here. And yes, we do have that stock coming in a second, but for now we need salt. It may look like quite a bit of salt, but there's quite a bit of stuff in here. So I'm using sea salt. I need another tablespoon, a heaping tablespoon of that Caribbean green seasoning. And again, that herbal element in there, we got, oh man, so much flavor is happening in here, from the coconut milk to the ginger to all the herbs that I have in that green seasoning there, to the garlic, to everything else. We need water. That is hot water. Now I use 2 cups of that rice there, but in reality, once you season it correctly, this recipe will work with 3 cups of that rice. I have a smaller pot here, and you know, people will say, whoosh, more meat than rice. True enough, we're trying to bring that up to a boil now. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm working with less lighting than I usually do. So it's giving a sort of a yellow tinge to everything. I guarantee you it's not as yellow as it seems there. I'm going to turn my heat down to low, and I'm going to put the lid on there. You notice we've got that bubble happening there. We're going to put that lid on there and let that go for 10 minutes. It's been going for that 10 minutes, as I said earlier. Just going to give it a quick little stir. And here's where we're going to introduce that stock that we made. And I'm using a very fine mesh strainer here. Just want to get all that nice juice out of it. We're going to bring that back up to a boil now. Yeah, it's quite a bit of liquid, but we need to add the shellfish and everything else to here. Now, speaking about the shellfish, if you don't want to make that stock, if you want to skip that altogether, you can buy fish stock and add that fish stock to here. I guarantee you're not going to regret it, but making it is so much better. I know some of you are watching this and probably thinking, well, Chris, that is nothing but a paella you're making. And to you, I say, loud stoops. No offense to our cousins from the Pyrenees, but this here is uniquely Caribbean. This here is, this is the Caribbean idea of soul food, of comfort food, of food that is just, you just want to sleep after. You know what I mean? You just, oh gosh, but we ain't go there now. So now we have all that rice. The rice is about, I don't know, about 75% cooked. Now if you're using a white rice or a basmati or one of those sort of flavored rice, by now that rice is already cooked. That parboiled brown rice takes a bit longer. It's now time to tuck. And we got all different sizes of clams in here. So we're just going to toss in the clams. And they've been sitting there. That's 1 pound of clams that I have, if you're wondering. Next up, we've got the mussels. We're just going to tuck those down into the rice, like so. And we want that to come back up to a boil You notice how quickly they're cooking, they're already opening up, and that is exactly what we're looking for. A couple minutes later, this is where we're going to go in with the shrimp and the lobster. Remember, that's been seasoned and sitting there waiting to join. Very gentle. We're just going to mix everything. We're going to tuck everything down, bring some of that rice up, and we want everything to cook evenly. Now, after the fish goes in, it won't take much longer to cook. That is why we're very careful and we're purposeful when we added those big chunks of lobster. If you feel you need some more liquid, you can certainly add some more liquid. What I'm going to do now is put the lid on there on that medium heat and let that go. We want that rice to plump up a bit more. We want everything to cook and come together nicely. Ooh, does it ever smell good in the kitchen? I am telling you, boy. Wait, Uncle Chris, you outdone yourself today, Papa. It's been about 6 minutes since I added the fish, the cod and the shrimp and the lobster. What I like doing here is adding some fresh parsley. There's quite a bit of liquid, but that is a heavy Dutch pot, and I know the residual heat will sort of finish things off for me. I also like adding the juice of half of a lemon, and I'm just putting my fingers, my hands in place there, just to collect all the seeds, and one still snuck in there, boy. You're real frontish, I At this point is where I tell you to taste it for salt, adjust that salt, and yo, give it a couple more minutes, and then shut that stove off. That residual heat will dry up all that liquid. That rice will go nice and plump, and it's just bare niceness. What's up, soldiers? Listen, if you enjoy this recipe, I'd really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and click that bell notification thing. If you've made the recipe, take a picture and send it to me, email address down here. I mean, trying to tell people the email address, them butts will take the address and do all kind of thing with it. And tag me on Instagram at Caribbean Pod. I really appreciate you guys, and thanks for being in my kitchen with me today. Irie. I've had it sitting there now for about 10 minutes. Notice how it sucked up all that liquid that you saw earlier there. Taste it for salt and adjust it accordingly to your own liking. We made an incredible seafood Pelau. Just look at that. Oi, 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 oi. I urge you guys to give this recipe a try. It's non-traditional. I mean, say if you are traditional, you will go the whole route of the chicken Pelau or beef Pelau or something. Today we went a little bit different. I hope you guys give this recipe a try. Remember, taste it for salt. Finish it off with that lemon and that chopped up parsley, and you're good to go.